evening. We are the next generation
of the Mangrove 9.
And today we have some legendary guests on our show. We started with the Bronx and now we've come to the UK and we've had so many people coming on the show. We've had to kind of cross over with the MCing, hip hop, and we've got a special guest that can take it from there to even down to the reggae style. Right. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Okay, so I'm going to start to the left of me or the right of me, depending on which way you're facing. So we're going to start off with the man Dobie himself. So Dobie, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
General music head, producer, remixer, writer. I do a lot of photography as well. And just generally just trying to live and keep a smile on my face and put out some good music, you know, and try and help people where I can,
okay,
along the way.
Thank you, D.
We're going to elaborate a bit more on that in a bit later, so you can go into more detail. Mr. Door 90 in the house, all the way from Layla, Mangrove.
Come on.
With this man. I want telling stories. So, Door 90, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about you?
Well, you just did it. My name's Joe 90. I'm from original Labrador Grove. You don't know the thing. When I started in it, there was no one in it. You know, when I started doing what I was doing, it wasn't there because I was too young to be doing it. So my journey started off pretty young, as you know. So there's a lot to say about the music business, about how you get in the game. Because remember, my time was different from the time of now. Now everybody's got a platform prepared and there for them. My thing was I had to do it as I was going along, learn as I was going along, you know, go through all the struggles and trials and tribulations, learning as you're going along, not no one teaching you because there was no teachers then, you know what I mean? Everybody was looking for something themselves. So, yeah, Joe 90.
Looking forward to hearing those stories, Joe.
Yep. Yeah, it's too many.
Okay, so now we're going to move down to Mr. Ty G Sticks from the Red Ninja from back in the days. We used to work a lot together. Introduce yourself. Do you want to tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, well, they call me Mr. Sticks, by the way.
Okay, Mr. Sticks.
I've been a DJ for something like nearly 30 years. What can I say? I've been a producer, also remixer, a little bit of MCing, as you are when you get to hip hop. You try and do everything. Tried a bit of graffiti as well. Yeah, just basically a hip hopper. God, it's been going for quite a while now, since probably 89 or something. But yeah, I've been a vigilant watcher of this industry and how things work and what things are happening over this period. But yeah, it's cool. That's who I am.
Okay, Mr.
Nice
Sticks.
one.
Yes.
Originally from Red Ninja back in the days, hip hop crew. Big shout out to Red Ninja as well. So Jamila.
Yeah.
Shout out to Soul Kitchen.
Right, so Jamila, would you like to ask the first question?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go straight to D, first of all. You know, so how did you get into the industry in itself, or what was your journey from school?
My journey. Okay, you know, I hail out of Stoke Newton. Parents are from Jamaica. Mother's part Chinese, part Indian, part black. Dad's 100% Zulu Nation man, all African, do you know? Yeah, I grew up in Stoke Newton, Hackney. Very into skateboarding as a kid from the age of like 10. Just rolling around, yeah. It's still part of my life now, I still skate now.
No.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm still in there, still holding it down, trying to, you know. And I'm like,
wow.
Yeah, I've always listened to music from a kid, you know, because like my dad, he never really liked us watching TV as a kid. So it was like, go read a book. But we can always have the radio on. You know how them ones, you
always have music in the
there's always music, you know? So being into music and then like, you know, being into skating. And then the thing that really got me into music was being into hip hop. When hip hop landed in England, I just gravitated to it. And I think the reason was when I started seeing the early videos like Buffalo Girls and all that stuff, the Malcolm McLaren stuff, and hearing the Supreme Team, I could relate to it because I think I saw other kids like coming from the similar backgrounds as myself. You know? So that helped me gravitate into it. And also, it was a sound system thing. So we kind of knew it. Do you know what I'm saying? Because we grew up around sound systems. You know, my dad used to build cabs and that. He was a carpenter. So his little sideline on the side, you know, as most tradesmen back then, they could do a lot of things like, he's a plumber, but he can also do painting and decorating and all that, right? So one of my little dad's sidelines was building speaker cabs for people. You know, so I used to watch him doing that kind of stuff. And then like hip hop landed in England. So I totally gravitated because I thought I could relate to it. I saw kids kind of from a similar background as myself and stuff like that. You know, we couldn't do music lessons at school and stuff like that. That wasn't an option for me. There were some kids that were doing it, but it seemed like, you know, they would go missing from a lesson or something like that and you'd find out they're taking piano lessons, but that wasn't there for me. So hip hop brought me into music. And just kind of like just following it. And I think it was the sound of the music. It was just sounded different. As well as the visual side of it, the graffiti and the break dancing, the whole package just appealed to me. And I think the thing that I gravitated towards in hip hop was the DJing side of things. Because, you know, we've got the four elements, right? We've got the graffiti, the break dancing, the MCing and stuff. And I think that most people, out of those four things, there's always one, even though they're into the whole package, there was one element that they gravitated to more. Like one man, it might have been the graffiti. Do you get what I'm saying? But for me, it was the DJing and hearing those records because the sound was so different. You know, the electronic music thing was kind of starting to happen. Do you get what I'm saying? So I got into the DJing thing, like, I want to do that. I want to do what that geezer in the Supreme Team's doing with the turntables. What's he doing? It's called scratching. So that's how my little thing started. So got into the DJing thing, saved some money, eventually got some turntables. But all that time when I was saving the money to buy the turntables and finding about little DJ mixers and that, I always was buying records. Because I knew at some point I'm gonna have a set of decks and I'll have some records and I'll be able to try and learn how to do that. And it just went from there, and then got into playing with drum machines and samplers through Godfrey. I don't know if you remember Godfrey. I can't remember Godfrey. Dougie would know exactly who I'm talking about. Well, Godfrey.
The name rings a bell.
Yeah, I can't remember Godfrey's surname, but he was a friend of my brother, Sheridan, and a friend of Dougie and stuff like that. And Godfrey used to work at a company called Effects Rentals. And what Effects Rentals was, it was a hire company for studios. So say they needed to hire a microphone or hire a snare drum or an amp, right? They would go to this company, Effects Rentals, if the studio didn't have it, right? And Godfrey was the driver for the company, he was the delivery boy. And he started telling me about things like drum machines and stuff like that. And I'd be like, what's that? Right? And he goes, I'll lend you one. Because one of the perks of his job was, because he worked for this company, he could go and play with the equipment himself. Like take it home for a couple of nights, muck around with it. So what he started to do was, I'll lend you an 808 drum machine for a couple of days, but you got to give it back. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm like, cool, but what's an 808 drum machine? Oh, it's that thing that makes that big booming noise you hear in the records. All right. So he'd come round to my place, drop it off with a manual, and I would just sit there and nerd out, basically. You know what I'm saying? So I learned how to make beats, learning how to cut and how to scratch. And then friends was hearing what I was doing, and they're kind of like, yo, can you come and do some scratching on our record? Yeah, all right then. Can you make us a beat? You know, I'm still a novice. Do you get what I'm saying? Like you're just doing a thing and you're just having fun with your friends, and you end up going to studios and stuff like that. And around that time, a few years later, I was, you know, I'm still skating, still fascinated by hip hop, going to Covent Garden. And I literally was the boy on the corner just kind of like all the boy in the corner, just watching everyone. Because, you know, I came out of the skate community. My younger brother, Sheridan, he was more there than I was in Covent Garden. I'd back and forth. I'd be over South Bank skating. Then I'd go to my friends that I was skating with. I'm going over to Covent Garden to watch the breakers. And I would just sit there and watch the breakers. And then, because my brother knew a lot of them, you know, cuts like MC Mello, Danny Francis and stuff like that. That's how I got to meet them. I'd be, oh, you're Sheridan's brother, right? And I'd be like, yeah, you know? So yeah, just kind of hanging out from Covent Garden and going to little jams and stuff like that. And then, like I say, my skills are developing DJ-wise, beat-making-wise. Friends are asking me to do things and stuff. And then I started rolling around with Soul to Soul, you know, being part of the sound system, being a box boy, really. Do you get what I'm saying? And then when Jazzy and them guys started to go studio, him and Nelly and that, Jazzy said, I want you to come and work with me and Nelly in the studio. And then it just kind of went from there, you know, doing the first few singles, then working on the second album, and, you know, things started to snowball from there. Remixes started coming in because we was going under the moniker Silent Productions and stuff like that. So you had Soul to Soul, the act, then you had the production team, Silent Productions, which is like myself, Howie B, Jazzy, Nelly, Simon Law was around a little bit, and you know, it just went from there. And then I moved away from the soul to soul thing, and just out there just doing my own thing. You know, work started coming in. You know, I never said I wanted to be a producer.
True, especially at that time, it was really creative.
And especially, you know, the way when hip hop landed in England, boy, it just brought a whole bag of energy, a whole bag of things. And at the same time, the warehouse party scene was starting off. You get what I'm saying? You had Mutoid Way, so it was like, London was alive, man. London was like fire. It was fire, because it was new, it was fresh. You know what I'm saying? And as well as the warehouse things, you know what I'm saying? Going to these parties in abandoned warehouses, or in, you know, or some big house in Ladbroke Grove. Do you get what I'm saying? You know? It was just like exciting. Yeah, you know? Yeah.
What about you, Nighty? What can you tell us about yourself, about where it all started? You know, it's from the Grove and all that, but, you know, how did you get into it?
Well, basically, you know already, it's my mom, you know. It's, you know, she's the one that, my mom, because, yeah, mama, you know, because, you know, my mom and dad Rastafari, you know what I mean? So, my house
you'd have to say what that means, because the average person wouldn't know. We know, but...
All right, then, basically, my family is Rastafarian, isn't it? So,
yeah.
When I grew up, I didn't really grow up like the rest of the youths them in my neighborhood. I grew up kind of different, because it was always a culture thing. There was always reading Bible. There's already smoking in my yard. There's already eating family meetings and Ital food and gatherings, and Rasta people come together, and you know, we go and meet in the metro, or we go and meet in Acklam Hall, or we go and meet somewhere, or wherever, you know, where the Rastas meet, because them time the Rastas was really, really powerful them times. So just like how the Muslims are now, or how the Indians are, we were like that back in the day, back in the earlys. The Rastas was kind of more powerful them time there compared to now. I would say it's more watered down. So yeah, so growing up with that background, that kind of background, I was always listening to music, because my house is always music. Always. It's like if you knew my mom, if you knew me, you definitely know that there's gonna be music every day in my house. Every single day in my house. So I grew up with the music from the reggae side of things. I would say the reggae and the soul side of things, because the soul was already there, because you know everybody's been a Michael Jackson fan for the life of them. You know what I mean? It's not like none of us can ever, no one who's doing their genre of music, if they grew up from our time, my time especially, can say there wasn't a Michael Jackson fan.
Yeah, it's true.
Like it's impossible. You understand what I'm saying? That was like,
or James Brown.
Yeah,
James Brown, Little Richie.
No. But Michael Jackson. No. Michael Jackson was a little boy though.
Yeah. He was our era. He was our time.
There's a difference when he done when it was Michael Jackson and the brothers and done that A, B, C,
Ding,
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 ding, 1, 2, 3. I was a youth watching that on
Afro,
TV.
just like
That's the first time you're watching black youths on television.
Yeah, big time, mainstream.
That's what you have to check. It's not that just the fact that it's Michael Jackson. It's the fact that he's a little youth like you, and he's on television, and he's a black youth.
Inspiration.
You never had that. You never had that. Yeah, you never had that. You never had that. It's not like it was normal. That wasn't normal.
No, not at all.
1, 2, 3. So that song was so big at that time. If people only really remembered how big that tune was for people like our kind of people.
Yeah.
They were an inspiration.
When you was in your yard and that tune played, that was like big history, big history. That for me anyway.
I was a Michael Jackson fan. I had them all over my wall.
So Michael Jackson,
as the afro and everything.
Yeah, I had afro.
I was getting married. We were getting married.
Wow. Okay, there you go.
I remember there was 4 at that time. There's 6 of us, but at that time there was 4 of us. So we were the Jackson 4. So we got that pictures. We had the big afros and the same clothes. They used to call us Jackson 4.
Yeah, Jackson 5. So that's what I'm saying. So
we would have made 5 and 6 after, but we were young. We only had 4 then.
Yeah. So come on. So from there, because again now, so I'm listening to Michael Jackson. I'm listening to some soul artists that not regular. Like my mom used to listen to this lady called Shirley Brown. You know what I mean?
Shirley Brown.
Yeah, some different ones, some original R&B, original soul singers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My mom used to listen to them before she was listening to the reggae thing, but really it was the reggae thing that pushed me. So when I started listening to the reggae, and I'm going to the raves with my mom, because as I say at the time, you know, when you was Rastas move like Indians. You bring your youths to the raves, you bring your youths to the gatherings, everybody bring their family. You understand what I'm saying? So we used to go and be a part of that. So being a part of that now, then you're going to school. Now in school, you know, at school they have school parties. Like somewhere in the school there's a school party, like and after the end of the year, or you're leaving school, or there's always a party, And I never forget. You remember that tune? You remember that hip hop tune? That come on, funky, dang. Come on, sticks, dang. Everybody used to. It was a break dance tune. No rapping on it. No rapping on that.
Apache.
Come funky down. Come thinking down.
And
basically, everybody used to break dance them time there. Everybody want to be a break dancer. Because remember Michael Jackson now coming with the moonwalk and everything. You know?
Yeah.
So the break dancing was mashing up the place at the time.
It's like
on a street level. Because as my virgin said, them time there, real talk, it was skating and roller skating and skateboarding was the thing at that time. Yeah. So if you was going Starlight, you would know what I'm talking about. If you're going,
the one in Streatham? Is that the one in Streatham?
No, Starlight in Hammersmith.
Hammersmith.
Near Hammersmith Palais. You know, next to the police station. You know, next to the
police station.
Yeah.
That place there used to be Starlight, where you used to go on roller skate.
Yeah.
Right, and then you had Battersea Park. Battersea Park, used to go to Battersea Park. And then place there I was roller skating them time there.
That was for the man then.
So now when you used to go to those raves now, when you go to those kind of raves, this is how you're gonna get to knowing the hip hop. Because I'm already a part of the reggae thing. I'm already knowing the reggae thing. But the hip hop part now is going to come by going to those school raves, going to the local parties for youths and that. Then you're going to come into the hip hop side of things. So I did like it. I did like the beats. I did like it, although I like reggae. I've always just liked hip hop. So then when it came to Run DMC now and what's that? Kid Frost and Third Base. Ice-T and all of the original man then when they came out, even the Furious 5,
Grandmaster Flash,
all of the top man then, because even African Barter's tune was a big tune at the time when he had a massive tune when I was a youth as well. All of them had big tunes. So what it was, I used to be involved in black music. I love black music for some reason. Even though I'm in reggae, I just love black music. So I used to go to all. So I used to go to all the raves. I used to go all the soul raves, all the hip hop raves, all the reggae raves. It didn't matter which one we was going. If somebody was going somewhere, I was going with them. Even them times I was too young to go, I was still going. Like the man used to go to some places in Camden and some places in Archway and some places in other places. The man used to take the train and walk back. Take the train and walk back.
Do you remember the bagel shop in Hackney?
Come on, come on. Listen, if you're raving and you go East London and you're raving, you have to go to the
Wrigley Road.
After then, you go
Four Races, if you go Mingles, if you go Willows,
Mingles, I ain't heard that name in a while.
If you go Phoebe's,
what's the other one in that we used to go to? What's the one with that Crystal? What's her name? Used to do it. Not Ocean.
Crystal Rose. Oh, you're talking about Granaries.
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 And then there was another one, Granaries, and then what's the other one?
South.
There was Four Aces.
But there was Granaries and something else.
Dougie's
night spot.
Oh yeah,
Dougie's was another one. Yeah.
There's a club that I went to listen to hip hop in the early days, and it's a place called Ronnie Scott's.
Ronnie Scott's.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this club that we used to go to in Catford, and then I couldn't remember the name of it. Tim Westwood and them used to play, and I used to always travel on a 36 bus all the way to New Cross and all them places to go raving. I can't remember the name of the club, but all them lot we mentioned it on the other show. I just
remember laughing
far out and couldn't get home on the way back because you had to go stop off in the West End and all the madness to get home.
The night buses.
Even when we keep it, but Joe Knight, even when we keep it back in West Sides, remember we was doing things like Grenville or whatever club, the Arts War Centre. And all them kind of places like Harrow Club and all them things. There was hip hop raves because we had Chris Nat.
That's what I'm saying.
Chris Nat used to be DJing in them kind of raves that we were going to. Remember Factory,
all of that. That's what I'm saying. Everywhere. That's what I'm saying. I remember I brought Billy Boyer to St. Vincent.
Billy Boyer. I met him.
To St. Vincent's, and St. Vincent's, it was hip hop.
Yeah.
It was hip hop, and all of them boys used to go there. Them time, all of the hip hop boys who ended up being hip hop man in the end, they used to go to them kind of clubs.
You know, I met Billy Boyle in because you know Camilla's I grew up with my best friend. You know her brother's Dominic. You know Dominic.
Yeah.
I remember when Dominic used to always bring people over. I remember meeting Billy Boyle, Little John, and Rayleigh, Barrett and Levy in their house. If someone in their house, they're coming. I remember
of course.
Little John was like so young. And he was coming there trying to chat you up like he's a big man. He thought it was a big man.
You know, but that's how they was them times. Because that's what I said.
We call that bright. It's too bright.
Yeah, it's bright. No, but that's how it is. No, we put it bright here, but over there it's normal. It's like kids.
I just remember looking, you're a little boy. What can you do? Like, it's like chatting up big woman. Like
little Billy Boyer was doing it. Little Billy, I was doing it. We was all doing it. It was the part. It was the way it was. It wasn't like that. If you was in the music at the time, we was in music.
Yeah, because you're young.
It was like that. It wasn't like it wasn't like that. It was like that. I had to dress like I was a big man. I couldn't dress like I was a little youth doing this thing. So I had to wear beavers. I'm wearing suits. I'm wearing all kind of different clothes that I wouldn't normally wear if I was a regular youth on the road. I'm wearing stuff that the big man has to look at me and say, "Yo, look at you, Taria Clarks." You understand me? Or the little youths wearing certain things, you know what I mean? And they, as big man, it's hard for them to obtain that at that time. So as an MC, as somebody who's into the music thing, if you're in it the way I was in it, you had to, if you was either a fan, for me, if you're a fan or you're a active member of the music thing, I was always following both sides.
But you know, what's funny is because me and T, we used to be my best friend at the time was still my best friend, Sweet T, and I used to be Jazzy J, and we used to be over the Harrow Road in a radio station. You know them pirate radio stations, and we had our little slot. Pure big man in there. Big man in there. You know, and that's little 14-year-old girls with our little radio. We call it
radio spot.
Not just the radio spot, but carrying the records, the vinyls.
No, carrying
We
them
had
as
our-
well.
You were the box girls.
Box girls. I had the box boys. I never had no box girls.
I wish I had
We had our own
box
box girls, but we, you know, my dad
Yeah.
used to cuss. He said to me, "You know how much big man is in there?" And
First time, I remember the first time I went 4 races with my mom. Like we went 4 races. I was about 8, 9, 8. We went 4 races and we went to the door. When you get to 4 races, when you go to the pay, there's a square little window. But I was too short for the guy to see me. The guy only saw the top of my hat. He only saw the top of my hat. And he said to my mom, because my mom them kind of was going with her thing in it. So they kind of know her. So like the brother saying like what I said, my mom, would I like let you in with the boy, but we can't let the boy go in today, you know, because and I'll never forget, like, that happened then. And then say the next say I was about 8 then. Say when I was about 13 now, 14, I'm going 4 races by myself. I'm going 4 races with brethren, going in free, because I'm an MC now.
Yeah.
By 89, by 1989, I'm going in 4 races with all 14 man free. And that's crazy. That's crazy. That is some history about dancehall that is deep, because as you were saying, getting into clubs, I was never having that issue, because every club I went with, it's like I went with the right people.
Yeah.
Or, you understand what I'm saying? As a youth growing up, like imagine you going to clubs with like Rankin Dread and Clint Eastwood and General Saint and you get me. So but then man, there's name brands already in music.
Yeah.
So by you go to the club with those guys, you don't pay to go in. So I was already I wasn't paying to go in from a young age, and I kept it going when I was getting older. And now I'm making my name, my own name, and my name is getting to be a brand. So I've got to defend that brand. I've got to defend that name. So I'm going to clubs to where Styx is playing, for instance, in Soul Kitchen, or in what's that club you used to play Styx in the West End? Used to play a few clubs in the West End.
Oh, in
Huh?
Met Bar. Not the Met Bar.
Not the Met, but the one on Shaftesbury.
Where's the place you played Styx when you played?
Avenue.
Shaftesbury Avenue. Yeah, remember the. Yeah, you played loads of places. Where's the place we played that time when I was with these Power Lords, me and Power Lords, and you was DJing for me?
Yeah.
Oh God, what's the name? Like my brain's gone today. Maximus.
Oh, no, that was a long time.
Maximus. How you remember?
To the Power Lords. Remember Power Lords? Remember it was
large up Power Lords, man.
Power Lords.
Power Lords, Black Twang, and all of them.
Yeah.
Even
Black
my
Twang.
man.
Yeah.
Even my boy MCD, because some guy have to know that to me, MCD was the first rapper in England that I looked at, that I said, wow, this guy can go America easy, man.
Powerful. He was powerful.
He could go America easy and do this. He can go America now. When he was coming, when I saw him, I was like, this guy can go America today.
Very powerful MC.
And do this. You understand me? So yeah, in the hip hop thing, no, I tell no lie. Still, when I was doing my reggae thing, I had the hip hop right hand side set right. Like one side is reggae, one side is hip hop. You know what I mean?
Well, the two kind of go hand in hand, because
they do
because of the sound system thing.
Yeah.
Right.
But a lot of people come from the reggae, didn't they? Like
there was 2 times in when I was growing up that I looked at music in a certain way. Do you remember when Musical Youth came out?
Yeah, I went to that concert.
That's how.
And
I remember going Hammersmith Palais or whatever, and I saw them backstage.
Listen, when they came out, me and Mecca thought we was the only 2 youths like that. This is real history. Like Mecca is the first youth to play on a pirate station. Like Mecca youth played on DBC. DBC is the first pirate. DBC is the first pirate station in England. Black pirate station in England. So BBC. My virgin at 12 years old, because we're going to school every time there. At 12, Mecca's playing on the radio, playing on DBC. So me and Mecca at that time, we was mimicking like Eastwood and Saint. You understand? I'm Eastwood because I got the dreads, and he's Saint because he's the Barlet. You understand what I'm saying? And that time, Eastwood and Saint on the Old Grey Whistle Test, they're the first MCs to MC on British TV.
Wow.
I'm talking about before any rapper, before any reggae DJ. Clint Eastwood and General Saint came on the Old Grey Whistle Test. If anybody knows what the Old Grey Whistle Test is.
Yeah, remember that.
It's an old time music program for artists who's up and coming and you coming into the game in music, whether it's rock music or whatever.
It's a bit like when Hackney
and for you to get on that, that's like a Bob Marley move for an MC. Like for you to get on that program, that's like you being
like
Bob
Apollo,
Marley.
innit? In the States.
Old Grey Whistle Test with Whispering
So,
Bob.
so those two times
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
those two times made me know that, listen, I gotta do this, man, because you know what? Look what's happening in front of my eyes. Like these people, come on, man, gotta be there. When we heard when we heard Pastor Dutchy, we was upset. It was like, how come these youths are on? We've been because we remember me and my friend, we're doing the circuit, we're on sound systems. We're on Paddington Terror. We're on Frontline from Brixton. We DJ on Coxon. We DJed on all the big man sounds. Them, you understand? So we're in there. So when we heard the musical youth, that just kicked us up the arse to step our game up, man. For real, for real. Big up them though. Big up them. Big them up still. Although there is a one thing still, but big them up still.
With some inspiration from them.
As I said, big them up still because
they're all right.
I like the way they did their video. They actually went to Jamaica and they done the real thing. So I can't go around them, large them up. Can't go around them. But we thought we was only because we never could remember it's Birmingham, innit? They're from Birmingham. And we're from London.
The accent as well.
And in our time, there was no little youths like us going around these clubs. It wasn't because I remember even Mecca's mum didn't even want him to go. He had to duck and go. You understand what I'm saying? So
how did you go forward? How did you go forward from there? You know, from
basically it was meeting. I'll tell you what, it was meeting Houdini. That's what changed it. That's what made it go even deeper. Because now I'm in People's Club every night through this dancehall thing. You understand? So they had this hip hop night there. They had hip hop nights there. They had soul nights there in People's Club in Paddington. You understand what I'm saying? So one night we left from the front line because I used to go to the front line and I got kicked out of school at an early age. And then I was on the road. So when the big man them start to go to rave, I'm going with the big man then. So all of the raves that the big man go to, Joe Knight is right there as the youngest youth in whoever's going. You understand that we go to? So when we got People's Club, one night I went in there, go to the toilet, and I saw these people arguing with the People's Club. A guy was trying to serve them. When I came back, he was still arguing with them. Next day, I went to another rave. I bought them. When I bought them in the other rave, and then after that, they said, "Give me the phone number. Give me the phone." That time, I don't even know these guys are Houdini or not. I'm just treating them right. I'm just treating them right. Looking for some food. So anyway, treat them right. So went to the hotel. Now I'm gonna know who dudes are and who they really are, and remember that song that I'm listening now.
The whole picture.
The same clubs I was telling you from. I was listening to friends in those clubs. You understand what I'm saying? So now to meet these guys is crazy. You understand? But to meet them, not only to meet them, to be their brethren, because now they took me as a brother. Like they don't even want me to leave them no more. They want me to be with them 24/7 round the clock. That I'm with them 24/7 round the clock. So we went to Hippodrome one night, and LL Cool J, and Salt and Pepper was performing there. And
SWV?
No, it was LL Cool J and Salt and Pepper.
Okay, yeah.
SWV wasn't there yet.
Yeah,
they wasn't there yet. So it was LL Cool J and Salt and Pepper. So when we went there, it was Houdini, Run DMC, Beastie Boys.
He was at the Astoria. Remember the
That's it, Astoria. That's it. Sorry, let me rewind that one.
I was there that
that's
night.
the club. Hold on, that's the club on the corner, right?
Yeah, it's gone now. They
Right.
knocked it
Yeah.
down.
All right, then watch this.
Yeah,
So if you was
Astoria.
there, so if you was there, you don't remember Joe Knight murdered it.
Yeah,
Reggae
that
DJ
was like
over hip hop
see,
in that club. You don't remember that,
because that's when like things was on fire because hip hop was just new then.
bro?
You know what I'm saying?
Listen,
Like
the man them I'm sparring with don't know because you have to remember. Like I don't know their hip hop man and they don't know I MC. So when I went to that club with them, that night was gonna be the first night. They're gonna hear me freestyle or they're gonna hear me do something. Now, when I went to the, that's the first time they heard the fast style.
yeah.
You know the fast style, the street rapping.
Yeah.
When I did that, they brought me to the hotel, bro, and phoned Dana Dane and say, Dana Dane, you need to hear this style.
Yeah.
Like, you need to hear.
So I remember that night. Because
Big,
the thing
big,
that
big,
was always good about the Astoria, because it was Noel Watson and his brother that used to do it, and Dave Durrell and them, man. I didn't know them then, but they would have won. Somehow they managed to get a hold of that spot.
Free flow. Imagine I've been free flow from the get-go. Free flow. Meaning that when I'm bumped into Houdini, it wasn't planned to do what we did next.
Yeah.
You get me?
That.
Like what we did next was the man they done that album, that One Love album. There's an album that they got called One Love, yeah? That's got the song One Love in it. They done that in Battery Studio in Willesden.
Yeah, because they were signed to Jive Records, right?
They were signed to Jive Records. So they were staying in a hotel, in a apartment in Edgware Road.
Yeah.
So I in them times there, I'm staying with them. Them times there, by that time I'm actually staying with them. Like my mom and my sisters, them don't see me. I'm with them. Here my mom and my sisters gonna see me. Here are they gonna see me. Mike Tyson comes there for the first time. That time when Mike Tyson comes to England to buy the Rolls Royce, the blue Rolls Royce for the first time, when he comes as the world champion, heavyweight champion of the world or something like that. He came to visit Houdini in that same apartment, and I was there.
Okay.
I was there.
That's heavy.
So he came in there with Peter Stringfellow. You know,
Peter Stringfellow.
Peter Stringfellow.
OG Peter.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. He came in there with him.
I had to go to Stringfellows one time. He invited us there. That was an interesting place.
Have you been?
Yeah, Peter invited us there himself, and I remember they were taking I was in my music in time, and they was telling me to sow these roses, and I was a female with the crew.
I've gone to Mike Tyson and them coming to meet this guy. So we've taken, watch this now. So I've taken, watch this. This is story of the year, you know. I've taken that night or the next night, I've taken Run DMC, LL Cool J, John with his DJ, Jazzy Jeff, Will Smith, Jazzy Jeff, Run DMC, Houdini, Mike Tyson, Peter Stringfellow, and few more people came, and we went to a house party. We went to a house party in South London, a house rave, you know, blues parties. That night, you see, that same night, I brought them to my mom's house. That's when my sisters, them, and everybody would go crazy and say, "Yo, Joe Knight, you came with them on? What did I do?" Yeah, that night. So anyway, now we went from there. Now we went to the rave. We went to the club. We went to the house party. And the house party. You know what? You know what's crazy? Chris Peckins of Chris Peckins Today, Chris Peckins in reggae. He was there that night. I didn't know Chris Peckins that time. And Chris Peckins was in his record shop saying, "I remember Joe Knight, he came in this party, I respect him, you know, he came into the party with all these man, you wouldn't believe it." When they took over the whole party, we even had girls with us. When we looked, the girls was gone. Now I'm really, really moving with the man them, and they even wanted me, Russell Simmons and them wanted to pay my fare to come back to America with them. Like, if you paid me to leave All Saints Road, it was like you couldn't. There's not enough money to give me, and I don't. I know them, but I don't know them like that. You know what I mean? I know Houdini. I know. I've spent a lot of time with Houdini, but now I've met Run DMC and all of them, and Russell Simmons and all these people. I know them, and me and them is cool. When they see me, they don't pass me or nothing, but I don't know. I don't think I was ready that time to just go New York. Because if I went New York that time, I would have been emceeing on hip hop from them times.
What about you, Sticks?
Me?
Yeah.
Ooh,
We ain't even you out, don't worry.
We can't see you, but we can hear you.
So, yeah, I've been loving the stories, man. I've been loving the stories. Sorry,
This is what we want to hear.
But yeah, I mean, my story is a bit more kind of almost like Joe's, because I kind of grew up. I started off in reggae first. You know what I mean? Being around a few people, and like South London, there were so many sound systems, man. So you couldn't escape it.
Sound systems
But
everywhere.
once I started going to the West End, that was it. It was all over. You know what I mean? It was in the blood, but it was all over. You know what I mean? Once I, you know, it was like 96, fucking, excuse my French, what's that club? 100 Club, Ronnie Scott.
WAG,
You know what I mean?
Gas Club.
What's that? That.
That's yeah.
Man,
Oh,
he was
fuck.
hitting them
Hitting them hard.
weekend, every weekend,
Bar-
hanging out with like quite a few DJs, you know what I mean, trying to get to know really good DJs and stuff. And some of them were okay, some of them you couldn't even really hang with, man. Like, you know. But one wicked DJ I met, man, my boy put me on par, boy. I swear to God. And I don't even think this guy was really a hip hop guy, but he loved soul music, man. I mean, this guy, he was a sound guy. And you know Mambwasa, yeah? Anyone heard of Mambwasa?
Yeah.
It's South London sound.
South London,
This
South,
guy-
actually Southwest.
Southwest, yeah, they were Southwest.
Yeah.
And I met Lloydie
Boxing.
round about the early 90s. And my man was showing me some music, boy, I swear to God. And he put me on a par where I just went into all different type of music, man. I just went from soul to hip hop to country to reggae to everything, man. My musical things started opening up. My juices just started overflowing, man. I swear. But hip hop was really my first love, man.
Yeah.
When I started hearing that for the first time, it was all over. It was all over, man. I swear. And the early 90s led me to, well, I was still kind of DJing hard, but that's when I met the Ninja crew.
Red
And
Ninja.
Everything, yeah. Red
Nigel
Ninja,
and that.
man.
I remember you guys. Oh, obviously, I was working with you as well. But
Yeah.
and I always remember Red Ninja. What was the other little crew that used to kind of move with you? Galileo? No, what are they called?
WBI. But yeah, me, Nigel, Tio, Dan, Crazy Cat, and Mo. Mo was really significant as an MC. Like, sometimes, you know, like when you listen to someone and you say, man, my man's speaking some wicked lyrics, but he just goes off point sometimes. You know, and you start listening to him and you start feeling his vibe. And, you know, well, I mean, obviously I had to, because it was like right down my street. When someone starts talking about Malcolm X and, you know, talking about the whole Black history thing, and we just went into town. We went into town with that music, man. And they said the words aren't topical, the beats are sick, but the words aren't topical. That's all the industry said, man. They all loved it, but they couldn't take it.
I don't want the conscious lyrics back then.
No, they're scared of it.
Ah, man, they don't want none of that. Scared. They were scared, running.
They're still scared. Nothing has changed.
Yeah,
No.
Nothing has.
No. In the beginning, it was the conscious thing. But what they did, they moved it away from the conscious thing and made it go to the gun thing and the drugs thing and the.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Because it was the conscious thing, and then what it was that they saw the conscious thing was making us wise too much.
Yeah.
Let's just throw a spanner in the
Public
works.
Enemy and all them.
And there you go. And
Then it was like, no, these people are getting too clever. They're teaching everybody. Let's just mess that all up and get them back into.
Let's water down the thing. Let's water it down.
What I mean by that is coming through in America where it's conscious, but even in England. England's very stubborn, They give you Top of the Pops and they give you main.
But our MCs, our hip-hop MCs wasn't like that.
No, but
in
what
the
I'm saying,
earlies.
in terms of the mainstream, people who got through, got record deals and stuff like that, you find that more so in America than you find that
I think in the independent labels, the conscious lyrics in the UK were in the 80s. We were definitely making conscious lyrics and tunes, and they were coming out.
Dress code or change your lyrics.
Oh, can we just do a few mixes? Can we use this mix? The radio.
Like record labels back then, it's all about radio for them. You've got to make that 3.5 minute record, and they want something that they know their radio's going to play. Do you get what I'm saying? They pander to radio too much.
Yeah, but remember, it's like I call it. It's like the Bible. It's already written.
Yeah,
they are the radio.
That's why we went independent in the end.
The radio stations are run by the record companies. The record companies make the money to pay the radio stations to play the music. And that's simple as that. Sure. Making the penny is the record man. The record man tells you to play this song. It's number one. That's why. This is why.
So all the radios, I remember, they would pay them to play it, but also the radio would then also if you was on the A list or the B list, because if you're on the A list, you're gonna get 2 or 3. You're gonna make money. You're on the B list, you're still gonna do all right. C, all right, but anything under that, you're gonna just get your little name there. And I always remember that the A list were the ones from when they got you on the A list. Say you came from nothing and went boom, and once you got onto the A list, then that radio stations probably owned you. So then when you put out a next tune, you're thinking, okay, yeah, we're just gonna get it out there again, straight back to back, and get it out there in the top, the big hit again. They'll start telling you, well, can you just make it this way or that way? And there was a time when you start to think to yourself, so you my producers now. You're telling me how to produce my tunes. They would tell you how to produce the tunes. The radio stations would.
But Sticks, this is an interesting one for you. How did you find, when you're DJing and in terms of people hiring you and the type of music you play?
Interesting thing was when you go independent, you got to find avenues. Do you know what I mean? And there are avenues for independence. And I thought Ninja got quite a big exposure. I mean, like Radio 1 doing John Peel, you know what I mean? Those kind of radio shows ain't no sniff. You know what I mean? People hear that.
John Peel, people have to, sorry for cutting you there, Sticks, but people have to give a lot of respect to John Peel, because when you look at John Peel, I'm not discriminating against colour or nothing, but if you look at John Peel, this little white man, you would never think he was going to be playing hip-hop, a bit like, what's his name, David Radigan, right? He was like the David Radigan of hip-hop.
Clean.
And he would be playing the hip hop tunes, man. I remember he used to play some serious tunes on his show.
And that's before Westwood.
Was about music.
Way before Westwood.
Westwood.
Yeah, John Peel was like a rich, because I used to listen to John Peel as a kid because he used to be the last thing on Radio 1.
Right.
10 till midnight. And that's when Radio 1 ended at midnight. And it would start up again at 7 in the morning, or something like that.
Yeah.
And the last 2 hours was always John Peel.
And television was like that as well, bro.
I remember television ended at midnight.
You remember just see the little kind of schoolgirl.
Yeah, and the test tone. No, a lot of props to John Peel.
And he passed away. Rest in peace. But you know what?
Yeah.
People underrate that man because he would play. A lot of people didn't get John Peel because he'd play all genres of music. He would play one hip hop tune and then country western and then some other rock tune.
He was just about music.
He would play the tunes. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So it's like
He
if you
would
didn't
play
mind
the
listening
tunes.
to other stuff while you're listening to your best hip hop tunes
He
or
would,
whatever,
yes.
but
you
he's
know,
gonna
Fire.
give you the respect, and that's what I
Yeah.
love about
yeah,
John.
John,
Like
John
you.
Peel was an educator. He
Yeah.
was an educator. He was
I like
definitely
that.
an educator.
Yeah. You find, because the one thing about hip hop, it's a certain type. It's always funny because it's always dictated by rich people's children. Now, if they get into it, a particular type of music, whether it's hip hop, soul, reggae, you find that the parents get drawn into it because the parents are the one buying the tunes. It's their money,
Yeah.
and they dictate, and it goes then through radio, and then the parents get involved in terms of the contacts that they have, especially if it's in the music industry, the director or the whoever in whatever layer it is in the industry, and you find that it comes through there. So people like Tim Westwood, who grew up in having a father who is a priest, or growing up in country somewhere, and then comes through. I'm not saying that he galvanized his dad, in that sense, but he comes from a middle class background. Is the point I'm making, and it's through those young people from those areas up north and surrounding countryside that actually influence radio, influence a DJ, all kind of DJs, and then they start coming to the clubs. So then you get the northern side coming through, whether it's northern reggae, northern soul, all of that kind of thing coming through from Manchester, all coming through back down. So when you go into the, especially when we left London to go to the clubs up north, that was interesting.
Every summer to Bristol, and that's when I grew up with all Tricky. My cousins live in Bristol, so every summer holidays I was in Bristol. But Wild Bunch, we kind of grew up with the Wild Bunch because Tricky was my cousins, they were like that.
I know all them, man.
My cousin, there was no Tricky, and then
Costa's Calf.
Yeah.
Costa's
And I remember the Packer Twins and all them used to come down there as well. Warehouse Waves, man. I'm saying you, Bristol at that time for hip hop, they were definitely on it, man.
To me,
even the town just down the road in Bronx.
going to them places, coming from London and going to them places, you really get surprised at how clued up they are because you're not expecting.
Look, a massive attack in them as well.
Mushroom.
Mushroom. And there was into the graffiti. There's some brilliant graffiti artists as well. And I think as well, because those sides, it's kind of, I'm not saying they were boards compared to London and the city, but I think it's, when you're going outside London, they focus really deep onto the hip hop as well and the graffiti. They might not necessarily had all the artists, but they was really into it.
Strong black communities.
Down St. Paul's and everything.
They're all forts, St. Paul's, I always found it interesting,
Appletown and
Stapleton Road. Big shout out to the Stapleton Road.
There's certain places that stuck out to me. Bristol, Manchester. Brighton's a funny one.
Brighton's a funny one.
You know what I'm saying?
No, but I always found Brighton a beautiful place, but strange.
Yeah.
What area?
Northampton and them.
Sorry to cut you. What Watford and Reading, because Reading always had their festivals. Oh gosh, what's that festival? Not Womack. I can't remember. It'll come to me. But they always had a big festival, and you had international people, especially the black drummers from Sierra Leone and
not Womack.
Womack. Yeah. They used to have quite a few good things up in Womack. When that festival came along, actually, there's a few.
Because Womack's quite a new one still.
Like Bristol Carnival, and then you'd have and Bristol Carnival used to have a lot of hip hop. So because that's why whenever the July come, we were out of London straight down to Bristol, and that is because they used to really be into the hip hop. The carnival was kind of based on hip hop more than any other. Never a bit of ragga. It was hip hop. It was they didn't really have soca like Notting Hill. So
Bristol
a lot of
never
people
really had
love playing
soca,
to
you're
St.
right.
Paul's for the reggae and the hip hop. That's what they used to play.
Yeah.
But then it also shows you the kind of, depending on the Caribbean, where the Caribbean islanders settled. In other words, in Ladbroke Grove, especially West London, you're going to have the East Islands. You're going to have the Trinidad, Grenada. Each area, Jamaica. Shepherd Bush and Fulham. Acton is all Grenadian mainly. Then you've got Harrow Road, which is all St. Lucian, Dominican, Guadeloupeans.
Mix up with Jamaicans here and there.
Not Jamaicans, don't get me wrong. No, we call it.
No, mixed up. No, you got it right. Exactly right. But no, you have to remember, in Harrow Road, it's just bits and bits of the Jamaicans.
Yeah.
In Shepherd's Bush,
Dominicans was a big thing in Harrow Road.
Mainly, as you said, over bushes. You got it right.
Yeah.
Canadians and
Trinnies.
Asians.
But Ladbroke Grove, when you think of West London, like Ladbroke Grove, that's definitely Trini. Well, first.
Yeah.
First
It was Trini,
came over
Grenadians, and Jamaicans came after.
Yeah.
Nigerians even.
It kind of gets sporadic, different islands start spreading out in South London.
I tell you that I've gone back in time like that. Can I just ask one question? Because I always wanted to find out this question.
Yeah.
Who's the first MC rappers on rap music or rapping in England, women and men? Who's the first?
Okay, well, I'm going to just give my...
would have answered that question
Okay, I'm going to give you my little thing on it. I can't say the first because everyone argues about the first, but I think one of the first.
No, who do you think is the first? Because
I'm saying one of. No, I don't want to get in the mix up. Okay, I'm going to be biased and say West Side. That's where I'm from and stuff. I would say one of the first is Dizzy Heights for me.
Yes, Dizzy Heights.
Jive
Junior.
Dizzy Heights, and then some people would say about Nutriment. They talk about what's his name?
I think Nutriment and Drew and those guys.
And Drew, of course.
Drew and say Dizzy Heights would have been the first on vinyl. The first ones to record.
But then you got like Family Quest, right?
Yes, E-Mix.
You got like Family Quest, like MC MX, and then you got the female that was with Mystery.
Yeah,
right?
Mystery.
So a lot of people reckon that she was one of the first.
I'd say Mystery was the first female MC.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yes.
she was with Family Quest. She was with Family Quest.
I never knew that. I always wanted to ask that question.
Yeah. No, she was with because she was at 1980. They were like.
Yeah.
So.
Very early 80s.
Bookie Crew was around them times as well, but
Crew was after.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Mystery, they say she was with Family Quest.
Yeah, sounds.
So I started rapping about 86. I probably had my first track out in 87, 88. And that was with MC Mello and D to the K, Sparky. That was a Hardcore Volume 1.
I know that.
Definitely one of the early ones.
But I was like in 86, but then like you said, it's who was putting things out on vinyl or whatever, because in 85...
Not even on vinyl, just MC, just to like go to a place and MC.
Yeah, she was doing it since the 80s, because they're different, they're older, they were older generation. So when I was about 15, I was rapping in places like Brownwood Park, because that's where we used to go and MC. So I was with Cash Crew.
Yeah,
I was with Trim. I don't know if Trim was so much with Nikki and them then, but I was called Female Cash. This girl called Tashan. And then I think they were Cash Crew, or Trim was by himself first. That's what I remember. I used to hang with Trim before he was with me and Martin.
Okay.
And I remember Trim set me and this girl Tashan, his girlfriend, up as Female Cash. But I was always rapping before that, because I used to rap in schools and go around on the trains, just like what he does. The female version with my mates on the train. I'll be just doing like I remember so I had my own version when I was about 13, I think. And I remember I used to go on the train, so my friends were like, go on. And I used to record like Sweet Charlie before I was MC Reason.
Wow.
I used to be rapping out loud and just, just showing the female version. So I think everybody was kind of in it. I think Mystery was ahead of us.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely like Family Quest, Jive Junior, Junior G, City Limits Crew. They were the ones that were out on the scene then. Who else?
Dizzy Heights.
Instrument, you had Drew,
Dizzy Heights.
Dizzy Heights. I remember Dizzy Heights.
It was like West London against the rest of the world.
Basically.
You know what I'm saying? I remember them.
Drew was kind of like, because I always know Drew from America and from Laylo. And like, as Drew was said, in the 70s, he was exposed to all that early in the UK.
Yeah, very, very early.
I remember I used to spar with Drew.
Don't forget,
Drew used to walk.
and don't forget, you had the Wild Bunch coming out of Bristol.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because I remember the big jam they had the big GLC jam down at the South Bank where the London Eye is now. Were there.
Wow.
All the guys from Bristol, all the breakers were there. There was so much excitement in the air. came. Oh, there was the Rapologists as well. Never met. I never knew who those guys were. They wanted everyone said it was either London Bridge was the first British record, or there was the track by the Rapologists. I don't know who the two MCs were, but that's really early 80s. And then afterwards came the Cookie Crews, the MC Mello, Power Lords,
London Posse, and them man, the Black Twang and all that.
I remember when MC Mello was a body popper.
Yeah, he started off body popping,
Yeah, he was a body popper, and like DJ Business was a breaker.
I think most people started off today doing something, either you was breakdancing or doing craft.
And what I've got to ask a question here. So what do you think was your best time in hip hop?
It's got to be those times. Got to be those times.
Do you know what?
Because
right there,
out, it was like exciting, all these new things that you didn't know about.
No. Now it's going to change into money. It's going to change into money now.
You were unique. Everybody was fighting to be unique. Yeah. And you had to prove yourself. And you could easily go off to South London, East London, West London to go and prove yourself in the competition. This is what I love. And you had your big crew with you. And you had your big jacket. And the girls, we'd have our leggings on. And we'd be testing some of them crew girls. And we're like, yeah, man.
It was our crew. So it's me, my sister, Michelle, we used to call her Fergie back then. She said like, didn't do her hair, like whatever. And even Jackie, because Lydia and this girl Shirley, who used to always move with us, Shirley was from South, they were my backing dancers. And all them lot was like a crew, we had our crew. You know, you had your crew, men had the crew, we had our crew. But I was the MC, there's Fiona and all them lot. And I always remember going to Dingles and they had the New Raps Generation.
Dingles.
There's 100 pussies in this competition. I'm gonna these girls trying it with us. Like I think I was even with my man at the time, and we were all in our little crew waiting because I knew I was going on stage, but they didn't know. And you know you're all a little nervous, but you've got your crew. And I always remember these girls from Hackney or whatever trying it with us. So they're trying to think they can push. You know, you're trying to get Singles used to be squash, man. That was a dangerous place. Like
the fire hazard.
Safety, everything out the window. And I always remember going on stage with my sister and Shirley and them and smashing up the stage and like looking at the same girls, my MC, smash up the stage and won the competition against us.
Now, you know what was funny is that we used to have people used to like our little crew because we used to dance with Dougie and them, like, Melody NSO and all that.
the NSO team.
Yeah, and I just remember a man saying to us as we all passed him, and there was different heights, different, we were all quite slim, and you had to figure because it was always this leggings thing that we were always in and boots. United Nations, man. Hey, head up to the side, man. Head up to the side. Look here, looking.
I just remember the name of the old time song, Planet Rock.
Yeah, Planet Rock. Yeah. And looking for
you know what night? It's just the way you were singing it.
No, she's right. I'm doing one of my mom's style. That's my mom's style. Your mom would say your name, but she would say it completely different.
Yeah, that's what me and Jamila always say. Tell me your name, Jane. I'm gonna call you Sarah.
The type of people that you've worked with. Tell us some of the people you worked with and how that crosses over in different areas.
Initially, it was Dougie and them guys. My first black people I really started working because I used to hang out in Grove a lot with Dougie when he was around there. Drew and Flex and all that. We used to go to the little studio at the top of Portobello, across the road from us,
yes.
right? Underneath the calf. Underneath the calf. So there, and then and at the same time I was rolling with Soul to Soul. And then when Jazzy and them started making records, Jazzy was like, I want you to come and work with me and Nelly in the studio, because we was playing Africa Centre every week and all that kind of stuff. And then we just started doing remixes, the silent production thing. So we the Family Stand, Ghetto Heaven. And Sinead O'Connor.
Ghetto Heaven.
What was a big Sinead O'Connor tune?
Compare. Nothing compares.
Nothing compares.
That was a tune, man.
I
used to be a big fan of Prince.
That's a two big tunes.
Yeah, Hooray album, one of the albums. We did a track for that. Soul to Soul came out in 1990, titled 1990. And then me and Harry kind of broke away. and we was doing our own thing. We had a little situation with Island Records, and so we was doing a lot of remixes.
Who didn't?
Yeah, that's right. Who didn't have?
Who didn't? Like, yeah, you know, who didn't?
You know,
they're the scrapers, the black people scrapers. You know,
Yeah,
they
right.
scrape
So,
all the black people, make the money from them.
yeah. So then I knew Tricky, I knew the Wild Bunch because I remember when Milo and Nelly moved to London, they were living on Delancey Street off of Camden High Street, and you know, Soul to Soul and Wild Bunch used to do gigs together. So we'd go to Bristol and do something, and then they'd come and, you know, Nelly and Milo would come and play at Africa Centre. A lot of people met at Africa Centre. A lot of people from the Mad Hatter Trevor's. Africa Centre was in Covent Garden.
Okay.
Right? So, you know, that was a big night for Soul to Soul. And a lot of things happened there. You know, the Simon Laws of this world, the Norman Jays, the Judge Jules and stuff like that. My name kind of just grew from there, you know. Then I knew Tricky. I was hanging out with Tricky when he moved to London, when he made that first album. When I really connected with London Posse was when me and Harry was at Island, because they were signed to Mango.
Okay.
Right? And
The London Posse video, and it came to Laverne Grove, and they filmed it in Laverne Grove. All the Laverne Grove man in the video.
yeah, so like we did the Jump Around remix. Me and Harry did the Jump Around remix, and that's when I really connected with Rodney and Bionic, because like I knew of them. I go to their shows, but I didn't know them personally, and we just happened to be, you know, on Island. They were on Mango, which is under Island. Do you know what I'm saying? So we did the remix from there, and like we kind of stayed in contact. You know, Bull was great. We used to have a lot of fun hanging out with Bull.
No, Bull.
And
He
like
looked after us. Yeah.
so I remember New Colours. He was one of the singers in New Colours, and he had a deal up at Soul to Soul. And Jazzy came looking for me. He said, like, we got this artist. You know, we'd like you to come in and do some stuff for him, because, you know, Lane was a bit different. Lane, like, yeah, he does the soul thing, but he's also a bit of a rock boy and stuff like that. Singers, you know, and like in America, where you can just totally be a hip hop producer and just make totally just hip hop all day. It doesn't work like that here. Do you get what I'm
because
saying?
the two landscapes are different. The two landscapes are different, bro.
Totally different.
You're surrounded in America by hip hop. You're not surrounded by.
No, not here. You know, and so done stuff with the Spice Girls. Now this is when the Spice Girls, they hadn't been signed yet, because to me they were a properly manufactured act. A manager, they won't talk to you. You know, like even they
that's
can
what
know
my
you.
problem was.
I still have that problem to today, right? Because even if they know you and they like your work and what you do, they don't want to deal with you directly. They always want
Like Joe Knight, don't want to deal with Joe Knight. He's got too much bad boy friends.
Right, so
he's coming to all his mates. He comes to all his.
Oh, we got this girl gang, this girl group that we're kind of putting together. We heard that you're really good with vocalists and stuff like that, right? And he goes, go in with them for 2 days, just write a couple of songs, right? And he took me to meet them, and they had them living in a house over in Finchley.
Yeah, that's it.
Right, over in Finchley, right? I went over there, met them. I thought, oh, this is a bit crazy. I went, okay. Only one that could sing, and that was Sporty, because she had had a career before. And like, I did 2 days with them, and it is really funny as well, because like, I had a certain engineer that I'd always work with, because I like that you build a relationship with an engineer. So the keyboard player I used to use named Neil Palmer, and it was really funny because I got Neil in on the session, I had Lawrence the engineer, and when the girls came to the studio, I just watched their faces light up, because they were like, oh, we got one here. Do you get what I'm saying? Did a couple of tracks with them. Right, and I just wasn't enjoying it. You know, at that point in their career, they weren't signed. They just had this powerful management company behind them. So you knew they were going to get a deal, and you knew, and just the way the girls were, you knew they were going to do whatever it took. Do you get what I'm saying? So they had them writing. You know, even if I did go in and do another 10 tracks with them, it doesn't mean that anything would have made the album, because they had them writing with everybody. They put them in with all these different writers. So, you know, you're not guaranteed of anything. Do you get what I'm saying? The same with, you know, me and Harry did a U2 thing. That was my first lesson. We did this remix for this U2 thing. And I spent 2 days in the studio just hating it. We was getting like 6-7 grand a remix, but that also includes the studio budget as well. Do you get what I'm saying? So
that hip hop. Do you think that hip hop, when you was in the hip hop, how did you feel about it then? Did you feel that you was doing what you wanted to be doing?
Yeah, hip hop has always been, we done what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
Always. It's when you start doing stuff for the record companies.
That's when it starts to not be.
That's what I'm saying. The 80s and the early 90s was the time, because that's the time when you were having fun.
Yeah.
With your creation.
Yeah, exactly. And they were the ones sometimes robbing you.
That let you down.
Yeah. That's that's kind of standard. That's the kind of thing that lets the whole thing down.
That's what changes the game. That's what changes friendship. That was
everything.
Things that was good friendship that was before, turns out that's why a lot of people ain't together no more in the music game. And it's only because of just that, what she just said. Music, the way we love music, you don't even check it, because I never came into the MC game saying I was gonna make £100. Or I'm gonna make
same here. Like
when I first started to get money, the man never told me how much I was getting, and I told him how much I was wanted. He just gave me some money.
You're just happy to get it.
But at that time I was a youth. I was 12.
You don't
money
know
to MC. I'm not even a good MC yet. When they decide to go and make a music with a man, if I make a music with you right now and all four of us sat down and write the lyrics, do you know all four of us get the same amount of money when it's time for royalties? Of course,
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you should.
So why would you want the royalties for yourself?
Yeah.
Because it's that greed thing.
Greed. I think the worst part of the business is when it's your friends, when they step on you, tread on you. I think that's the worst part of the business, because you trust them. No one trusts the record company. You're always cautious about them because they're business. But I think the hardest thing is when you're working with certain people that you trust, that you grew up with, or people that you put your trust in, because you're like, I'm going to do this with you, you're going to do this with me, so I'm going to trust you, because otherwise we won't be working together. And then people are the ones then who rob you or run off with your ideas, like you said, or you write something and they take it and make it their own, don't even credit you for it and things like that.
Enough of that. I've had enough of that. A lot of that.
Is the hardest part of the business. Whether someone decides to go off mainstream, that's up to them. Whether someone wants to go commercial, that's up to you. But I think I think one thing I know I can turn around and say is that I didn't step on nobody on the way to go to the top or do anything. I didn't rip nobody off or whatever. But there's a lot of people in the industry that can't say that they didn't rip people off on a long way or done a dirty on them.
So, my first publishing deal was done in, say, 89. And now I'm chasing the royalties. Because I haven't been accounted to, but it didn't end date the contract. So if they don't, these deals run for a certain period. Initially, when you get offered the deal, the label or the publisher wants it for life for copyright. Now, if you don't know, you're just going to go, I'll sign that, because you're getting a bit of money up front. Do you get
advance?
So, but if you do know, you're like, no, I'll let you have it for this length of time. And then once it ends, everything comes back to me. Do you get what I'm saying? Most people may have walked away from it, but I'm not going to walk away from it. I'm like, you know what? This contract's still live. What am I counting? So they can't say nothing to you. They can't say. They have to honour it.
It's the same way, like when you do copyright control and you don't sign, but then they say, okay, copyright control. You're being more thinking, I don't trust you. I'm not signing my lyrics over my publishing to you. So then you say, okay, I'm not going to sign. So they say, okay, copyright control. And then all that money from all these artists that just sit in that pot.
Yeah, just sitting in that pot.
Unplayed. All that money. But the PRS and everybody's sitting on that big...
that's what they're there for, isn't it? It's them.
Well, how it really works is it's the PRS. It's not the publishers that collect the money.
Yeah, it's the PRS.
It's the PRS that collect the money. And you can get your publishing money without being in a publishing deal. All you need to be is...
But the same thing is if you haven't got your PRS, right?
Yeah.
You can't... It just sits there, because there's times when I've done deals and I'm like, okay, I've got my PRS, they've got theirs, maybe 3-4 people are working together and 3 of us have got PRS and the other one ain't. So we're able to claim ours, but that person's percentage is sitting there with the PRS. They haven't touched it. They'll tell you how you ripped them off. No, you didn't get your PRS number, so you haven't got paid. Don't come to us because we haven't got your share. We can't have your share because we don't.
It's not possible.
Our shares.
find that in every, there's
Yeah,
going to be
every
a common
industry.
denominator in
Yeah.
every
Yeah,
industry. Doesn't matter if you're a
yeah.
fashion industry, it's cutthroat. If it's in the film industry, it's cutthroat. Even any other cultures like maybe South American or whatever, Italian, or whatever the case may be. But you
Mafia.
find wherever you find in all cultures, you're going to find cutthroatness anyway. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if it's human nature. I don't care if
Part
you're
of human
Jewish.
nature,
I don't care
innit?
if you're Chinese, Korean, black,
It
whatever.
happens.
You're going to find that, right? Whether it's talked about openly in all the other cultures is another story. Well, that's we're a very open book. So everybody know everything about our business, unfortunately, to a certain extent. They create a system that is a crab in a barrel system. So we're all trying to get up there as crabs, climbing up the sides and all the rest of it. A few go through, you put your hand back so you can pull up a few. That same one look back at you and close the lid. And gone. You know, what kind of, whether it's reggae or hip hop, what kind of collaborations, who have you worked with? So, because remember, the young people are seeing this and they don't know necessarily everything, you know.
Sound systems first. Then it went into the music because they tried to get rid of sound systems. If they didn't get rid of sound systems, that would be still sound systems. But everybody, they changed the direction into artists. So you need to be an artist. So I don't know. The first song I did was with Sweetie Irie, a song called A New Talk. Mango, same as he said before, Mango label, Island Records. Aswad done the rhythm track and everything, and the song was probably, they said it was #1, famous, big song, It done its duty. Up till today, we're still doing dub plates for that song. So yeah, that was my first collaboration. Really, I had done a lot of collaborations with different people, but for some reason the songs never came out. Like, whole heap of different reasons, but songs never came out. I done collaborations with everybody, loads of people, but never the songs have come out. I always used to think that they used to blackboard my thing because of my flexing at the time was the way I was at the time and who I was around and the people I was around and my whole, I don't think they liked it. And what it is with people, if they can't rob you and they can't steal you and they can't do it, they just don't deal with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they know that if they carry Joe Knight into the studio, Joe Knight is gonna want his money. So they don't voice Joe Knight. Let's just don't voice it. Do you get me? And I don't know, maybe that's what it is. But in my time, I don't know if it was I was too radical. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they were scared of that. I don't know. I don't really know why. But there's, as I said, I've done lots of collaborations with different people, but never really manifested into nothing really. The last collaboration I was gonna do, and I was rearing to do it, and I can't believe I got the opportunity to do it, and I was gonna do it with all hands. It was second to last, because the second to last was Yinka. I got to do a collaboration with Yinka. The last, that was the Yinka's one. Do that. Yeah, Yinka's one's the last one. The one before that was Guru from Gangstar. Me and him were supposed to do a collaboration. You understand me? Now, the other day, I hooked up with Houdini from my Grandmaster D from Houdini, and me and him want to do something now. So, Yinka.
Coming back right around.
Houdini,
Yinka,
we can do a freeway collab, yeah?
No, serious. As I said, this is where it is right now. That's where
you can come in and produce that.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
Come on. Because it's all in house. That's how you do it now. Yeah. All in house. That's how you have to do it, and do it with people that you trust or you think you trust. You know what I mean? That's what it is. You know what I mean? And that's where it is right now. I mean, and there's been many times I you know what I mean, the people that's where they are today, if it wasn't for me carrying them, they wouldn't be where they are today.
You're gonna find that as well, yeah. Yeah,
I see that, but I don't really penny that. I leave that down to when they're doing their interview. They're supposed to say, oh yeah, you know what, Joe Knight, if it wasn't for Joe, but they don't say it. But I don't really give a damn.
It doesn't help when you've got people like Adobe there, who's just so you've touched so much, and you're so humble with it and you shy away from it. So when you have that personality as well, you let your music talk for yourself, or your instrument, or whatever the case may be, talk for
That's
itself.
how it's always been for me, because like I say, I just like making music. I didn't say I wanted to be a producer. I didn't say I wanted to be a remixer. Do you know what I'm saying? Even it's the same with me in photography. It's just things that I was into.
Because when people say to you, "Oh, what's the point of doing the podcast? Or what's the point of talking to everybody? What's the point of this? And what's the point of that?" In the nutshell, it's purely one is love, reconnecting and connecting. Because reconnecting is bringing us all together. I mean, I haven't seen Trim for 25 years, 20 odd years.
Yeah.
I know some D in terms of NSO, he's got his little group. Some people got the hip hop group where everyone's, in the WhatsApp group and people still communicating. But outside of that immediate, we're not connected. I'll give you an example. When I said to my son, "Oh, look at your cousin's music video. Your mum's in there. Your two godmothers are in there." Yeah. He's like, "What video were you in? What video, mum? What are you talking about?" You know how they
see what I'm saying?
And then when they're sitting up and they're all kind of relaxed on their bed and they're all chill, they're blank, there's no kind of beat, and then all of a sudden I just saw when T started going up the stairs, and then she's sitting on the train, and D then launches into his rap. I just see my son sit up, no expression, and then eventually he starts seeing nodding, and then eventually he starts getting, "Yeah, this is all right, man." When was this? I was like,
"When was this?"
17. You never told us about this.
You never told us.
I forgot about it. And he's like, and then he was really cool about it. And then as soon as I shut the door, his bedroom door, I hear him going, "Yo, I'm gonna send you this text. I'm gonna send you this video of my mum, on the end."
You remember that video that you done?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, with your
with my daughter in there.
Yeah, in there.
Because they're little in there, innit? So when they see that video, when her children see that video,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what.
But it's nice for them to see it, but then understand
they were little, like Devontae and them lot. They were like miniature, and Pat was young then as well.
Yeah.
They can look at our website and say, "Oh, okay,
That's so 90. Let's see what
we're not feeding our children, or pushing our children naked into the industry like we were."
Exactly. Yeah.
We don't have generational, being manipulated in the same way.
Yeah.
It has to end with our generation, and we look after our own. If they are going to go into the mainstream, they are going to go into the industry, they feel supported, so they can come back and they can say, "You know what? This is what's been said. This is the contract. This is the copyright. This is the and you can say, "Actually, I know a man. I might have come across that terminology, but I know a man who has."
Also, the younger generation like things to hand. So as we know, everything to them is social media. Everything to hand on their phone or whatever.
Right.
So for them, they have to have access. So if it's there and they've got access to it, they're gonna take it, find it, read it, and use it to their advantage. Whereas we didn't have anything. We had no knowledge.
No, we didn't have. We didn't know.
It was man's words, mouth.
Yeah,
freestyle.
We didn't know nothing. Do you know? It's like.
But also, what's important is celebrating British Black contribution.
Yes.
Which we don't really know about.
Yes. Very important.
Credit for this. Nowhere in the world, so we got to credit ourselves.
Exactly. And we've got to do it and most importantly, equally to that, is for us to do the networking. That's fine. However, how are you getting on? Where's the monitoring and all of that?
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean? It's not handing somebody, but 3 months time, did you get what you wanted from it? Or if you didn't, why didn't you? Okay, well, let me try. So that, you've got to guide them all the way through. It's not just there you go.
And also, I think it's like my daughter's in the industry now. Do you know? She said to me when she was, 17, "Dad, I want to be a professional musician." She went off and studied music. She got a degree in jazz, and she's a multi-instrumentalist now. And she's working all the time, but she's wise to the game. Because one thing I've noticed about the generations that have come up,
very business orientated.
Very big. The industry totally rejected them. I'm gonna go with the grime lot, because when I first heard grime music, I went, "That's punk rock." It's got, as in, like, they don't dress like punk rockers, but the energy is punk.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do just like punk rockers.
They don't dress like punk rockers, but
but you know what? Talking about punk rockers, hip hop, back in the days, they used to dress like punk rockers. When you look at that break dance and all them kind of
they started off punk rock.
Yeah, them errors.
Well,
So,
remember Donald D said that when they first came to England
They
and they
come
saw the punks,
yeah,
they were
that's
like,
Grandmaster Flash and
they
them.
like that,
It's
you know, with the
flashing that,
tear-up
yeah.
jeans and
Yeah.
the big, you know, the boots.
Yeah.
But look at Turbo and all them. They started thing. They said proper dress like punk.
But to get back to my point, it was kind of like I just saw like that's like punk, but the industry's going to be too scared of it. You know, it's too black as well. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Maybe too black is the wrong word. It's too black for them. Do you get what I'm saying?
It's too urban.
Yeah, too urban for them, right?
Urban, whatever.
So,
that's
what I think that did, and kids was like, all right, we're going to do it themselves. We're going to do it ourselves. So they were forced to go and learn.
Yeah, but you know what, Toby? They also had a better opportunity. Like, we could have done it ourselves, but we didn't have those platforms like
we didn't have the tool. We didn't.
Social media is the biggest thing. That is why the younger generation can make.
That's why grind.
Make a good tune and get 1 million views.
But
you know who influenced that and started the separation from the industries? There's a few of them. Michael Jackson was one when he was having that big dispute with Sony. Prince was the other one who just said, you know what, I'm a slave.
Change my name.
You've done it, but because you've been rejected them in that way, they're going to have to learn to figure it out for themselves. Exactly. And now when you approach in a funny kind of way, you wise them kids up and you don't even realise. Because you reject them.
Also keep up with them in our generation.
Yes, marketing yourself.
Platforms. People marketing us and we had to pay them back in the day. So your record companies were ripping you off. You didn't make any money from the sales, we've got to pay the distribution, marketing, and they're marketing you their way, spending all your damn money on your money on you
got to pay
to
back.
market you that you've got to pay back.
And not even just that, the people who are in the publishing and the marketing are usually friends of theirs or family orientated people of theirs.
That's what I'm saying.
So they look after each other.
You know when people used to put the posters up? Do you remember them posters that they put up all up, paint them up, and you got a big poster of yourself and your album coming out? They used to be like little gang things. I remember learning how that used to work. And it was like they would pay 10 grand. You'd have to pay the people off so that they could even put your posters up.
To do with the ISRC code.
Yeah.
That's it doesn't,
on the records.
Because in some respects the name doesn't really matter. It's all about that ISRC code.
But that's how they get away with it. That's how they get away with it, because they put the codes for the tune that they're releasing, and then everything comes really under the tune. Even though you put in your PRS and say, well, actually, I performed on that track, and I want the agreed 50% or 25, 20%. But it goes by like you said, the record, and that's how the clever little rip-off people, where you don't want to sign publishing to that record, they will then say, okay, all right, you go and get your own thing. But then they're cleverly doing it, like you said,
you got to watch it and you got to be on it. And
they tell you it's forever, longevity.
Yeah, I own everything.
No, not even just that. What I love with the wording is
purity.
No, not even that. Is when they say, and for future projects not even thought about yet.
Yes.
We agreed. No, the worst one is we agreed to what we mentioned. What we mentioned before.
Another thing I would say to a lot of people coming up, because people get hungry, they want to be in the game and stuff like that.
Saying this is just a business, because they now teach you how to get all your things on Instagram, and it's all monetary, isn't it? So if you've got YouTube and all the things, and you can get over 10,000 whatever, you're gonna get paid on Instagram.
But what they've done is they've put slackness in the lead of that. To start the game. When it wasn't, it shouldn't be. It should be culture in the beginning. It's not hard to do what they're doing.
Putting up.
True.
So we have to look at what we're putting up. It's like YouTube. YouTube don't put up any content. It's the public that put up all the content.
But I do think there are people behind that. I do honestly feel, because
just like I said to my children, look, when they put these cookies up, when they put all these certain amount of behind the scenes, will monitor you, but they once you're allowed, those little things that say you're allowed to go into my photos, you're allowed to use my camera. Once you tick all that and say yes, obviously what they do then for the biggest, Facebook is the biggest marketing platform ever. You put anything in there, it doesn't matter how many different levels of how you can attract an audience. So once you've attracted that audience, and once you get what they like, you start feeding into them subliminally. Even if you don't like it.
They tell you what you like.
Yeah.
You know,
that message, that subliminal message that's been sent to your mind has been being sent to you as the parent from the television.
Yeah.
So they send it from the television first. Now they've got you with that mind on your own thing, but your own thing is not really, you know what I'm saying? It's not really fully you. You still got the mind that you came from watching television.
Yeah. The younger ones were brought up that way, so they just fed.
Yeah, well,
we still have a chance in an aspect that we've been talking to so much younger generation who are fed up with the social media way and everything. They're so hungry, and they want to learn. They want to learn the history and the archive.
The natural way.
So many of them that want to go back. It's funny that it's kind of doing a reverse now.
You see this COVID-19
It's
right
woke
now?
them up. The truth has now come out. Yeah.
It's forced you and everybody around you to check thyself.
Exactly.
You understand me? Now, if you check thyself, what you will find is, because you don't trust the system that much no more, you find yourself thinking to do your own farming, to grow your own fruits and vegetables, to live in the sunshine, to do all of these wonderful things that's good for your body and good for you personally.
Yeah, well-being.
You got people not looking after your well-being the way you should be looking after your well-being.
You want to look after your soul. Yeah.
So the children of today had a chance to see Dr. Savy before he died. So that's the benefit they got. That's the benefit that these youths got today that we never had when we were growing up. Dr. Savy that time. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Like, so the main thing for the youths today, they need to change their diet, because their diet makes their mind change.
Yeah. And technology is
it makes their mind change, plus the food, plus the drink. Youngster, you still got time to go to school and go to college. Study a few languages.
Yeah, make sure you back yourself up.
Very good to study a few languages.
Have more strings to your bow.
Have more strings to your bow, as you're saying. And make sure you've got to make sure that you educate yourself about finance.
Yeah.
Very important.
I'm in, and the thing is about it is, like, some people, they, like you said, they make it and then they get broken by it, and then they never come back. Even
never was taught about
confidence
finance
or nothing. So I think
people are now telling you and showing you.
Yeah, like anything. It's like when you make it and you're in a fight, like Tyson or whatever, you have a fight, you lose your fight. You know, everyone's your hero when you're beaten and you're winning those fights, but when you lose a boxing match and everyone's like looking at you and you're down, then people will pick themselves up and go fight again and maybe win again. So it depends on your mentality, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pleasure. Absolutely.
Yeah, but it's been lovely speaking to you guys, man.
Thank you for having me.
And Dobie, thank you for your, people charge for your information.
And 90, blessing our presence all the way from Spain. Come and jumped on the boat and supporting. Thank you for your contribution, guys, and thank you for supporting the cause.
Always welcome.
And don't worry, we're going to come to the reggae scene just soon, and that's definitely where we're bringing you back.
Yeah, well, come on, man. We're not ready for that. I'm ready for that.
All
right, take care of yourselves, you guys. And thank you once again for the show. And thank you, everybody, for listening in to the next show. And I hope you're going to subscribe to our channel and support the rest of the episodes. I just want to say a big thank you to Dobie for your contribution today. And a big thank you to Joe 90 from the Laylo Cruise, and Jamila, my sister, as always.
My sister Jinx.
We want to say
big up DJ Sticks.
DJ Sticks. Shout out to Sticks, Ty G. Thank you for that. And we're going to see you guys on the other side. Hopefully COVID will allow us back out again.
R.I.P. X from Houdini. Ecstasy from Houdini.
And Houdini, if you're listening, like Joe 90 said, listen, we have to make this happen. Promises I've made, one with Donald D from Rhyme Syndicate. I'm supposed to be jumping, and Joe 90 was supposed to have done this a long time ago. So look at yourselves.
All right, bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Not fight for me. Now I be a girl picking it in a Miami. Yo, but I am a girl ready to fight for me. Be a girl picking it. Here me know me and me Air Force. Me and me Navy. Me and me brown troops ready to defend me. Me a cocoon, me and monkey. Me a some nice and fabulous lady 24/7. Never off duty. Arm to the teeth with the latest technology.